Hey, welcome everyone to the Codex Station's Comic Character of the Week. As usual, I am your host, Sal the Slab Guy. Today I've got with me Dan the Man Kelly from Instagram. And then also we got Archduke Kevy. And to the right of me is not J-Dub. Who is this guy? It's Tim the Terrible. How you guys doing tonight?
Very good,
Doing
sir.
good.
Very good.
Great.
Awesome. So tonight was Jamie's pick of the week. And since you are subbing in for him, Tim, why don't you go ahead and tell us who we're covering tonight?
Yeah, so tonight we are covering an awesomely amazing character, the Batman of the Marvel Universe, some say, but I don't say that. It is none other than Mark Spector, Moon Knight.
Nice.
One of
Very good.
maybe Mark Spector.
Maybe Jake Lockley. Maybe, I don't know. Stephen Grant. I don't know. It may be somebody. It may be one of them.
Mr. Moon.
Sure.
Mr. Moon. Mr. Moon. All right, so let's get some business out of the way. First off, you can always find me here on Codex Station, or you can find me on YouTube as under Sal's Comic Corner, and on Instagram as the Slab Guy 77. And then down below, we got Dan the Man from Instagram. Where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Dan Kelly Art. I post a few times a week, so go check it out. Give me a follow and drop some comments. Let me know what you think. And then right beside me, this cool cat has got some stuff going on.
All the time.
About it. What's going on, everybody? I created a group over on Facebook called Comic Character of the Day, and so we're on Instagram as well, where we post a different character every day, and we get into all sorts of other goodies regarding this geekery that is comic book love. And we'd love to have you come on over, check us out, maybe join and become part of our family.
Nice.
How about you, Tim? What do you got going on?
Oh, just a few things, such as we're on all the socials right there down below at the Codex Station, your favorite social media platform. All you got to do is type it in and make sure we're live streaming right now, especially on Kick, our new live streaming platform. Make sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and follow, so that way you never miss out on all the new stuff that Codex has coming out all the time. Every time. And also, ladies and gentlemen, do not forget about our website, where you can meet everybody here and everybody else that you don't see right now, including Jamie, who's heralding for Galactus. Head over at the codexstation.com, meet the team, get some merch, and so much more.
But I think there's something else.
You made a mistake there too, actually. Like Franklin Richards, Galactus is heralding for Jamie.
That is very true. Sal, what did I miss? I know what I missed.
You missed our lovely Patreon, folks.
Oh,
Why don't you fill them in on that?
That neat little thing right there, ladies and gentlemen. We are also on Patreon for the price of a cheap or expensive cup of coffee. Your choice. It's completely up to you. We have some patron exclusive things that you can go and enjoy and be a part of, such as behind the scenes material, access to shows earlier than those that get to see it on YouTube. Do you know games and things like that are exclusive only to patron members? Get to meet and interact with your favorite hosts. Hopefully it's Dan while he's drinking that drink right there too.
It's me.
It's definitely Sal. It has to be Sal.
Yeah.
But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you feel so inclined, go ahead and head over to patreon.com/the Codex Station and help us out. Sal, if I may add one more thing.
Yeah.
We are at 901 subscribers right now, ladies and gentlemen. And we really need your help to get to that 1,000 mark. That is a major milestone. All of us here have worked so hard to get us to this point, and now we're making the call out to you guys to help us get to 1,000. We'd love to do it before the end of summer, but if we can't, we'll push that deadline towards fall.
If you want to see your loved ones well and alive and whole again, you will. No, I'm too far.
There you go.
That's all I got. That's a bit dark. This is not After Dark, Kevin. This is Character of the Week, all right? Comic Character of the Week, not After Dark.
Too far, my bad.
All right. Yeah, very good. Let's get for a simple click of that like, share, and subscribe. It takes a half a second for you guys to do, but it means so much to us. So please go click it. Go click it. Tell your friends all about it.
Yeah.
All right. So today we're going to go over Moon Knights, and Dan, the man, formerly of Instagram, also live on Instagram. He's got the beats on this guy.
All right, so Moon Knight first appeared back in May 1975 in Werewolf by Night number 32. It's created by Doug. I don't even know how to pronounce
Monick.
it. Monick, is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
Doug Monick and Don Perlin. He had one kind of origin when he was introduced, but that was retcon. So I'm going to give you the one that everybody knows, which is he was Mark Spector, who was a mercenary that was betrayed by one of his partners and left for dead in an Egyptian desert. He was saved by the moon god Khonshu to be his fist to defend travelers of the night in his name, and also basically to kind of go out and spill blood in his name too.
Punish the wicked.
Yes.
Yeah. He's had multiple aliases to do this and developed a dissociative identity disorder along the way due to Khonshu messing with his brain.
Mm-hmm.
As far as powers go, he's highly skilled in combat, Olympic level athlete, skilled acrobat, expert marksman, skilled tactician, and detective. He's been resurrected by Khonshu a few times, so he's potentially immortal as long as Khonshu decides to keep bringing him back. Mm-hmm. And due to Khonshu messing with his brain, he's resistant to most telepathic attacks.
Mm-hmm.
My man.
Yep.
All right. Very good. Very good. So before we kick into the nitty gritty, we're going to do a little sponsorship from our sponsor, which is Dubby Energy Drink. You got to go to WGG, and if you use the word codex, that's COD-X at checkout, you can save 10% on that order. I know all the team has tried it. It's a great energy drink. It's a clean form of energy drink. There's no jitters. There's no bad aftertaste. There's no crash. It's a good energy drink, and you should check it out. And save 10% while you're doing it.
It's good stuff.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Awesome. So now for the segment of how this character works best. So, Kevin, why don't you kick us off and tell us what you think about it?
All right. So for me, his just this psychotically driven dedication to his mission. He doesn't give a crap. Actually, I think he actually kind of likes getting the crap kicked out of him. He will take blows left and right and be like, oh, that's fine, I don't care, and keep coming. He doesn't give a crap. One of the things that happened recently is somebody got a hold of his bank account. He was rich due to the machinations of one of his personalities. And somebody found his accounts and was wiping money away left and right, saying, you're going to do what I want. And the more you disobey me, the more money I'm going to take away from you.
Stephen Grant is his rich persona.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so he kept going. And he was like, I'll do what you want. And eventually he did that in order to find this location. And as soon as he did, he showed up and he goes like, I'm going to take away all your money. And he's like, you think I care about my money? You think I care about getting the crap beat out of me? My mission is everything. So his psychotic dedication and singular focus, I think that's where he's the coolest, when he's just like, no. I'm going to do everything that I'm going to do. And there's not a damn thing that I'm going to let stop me. I think that's the best part of that character.
Okay. All right, Tim, what do you have? What do you think works best for this character?
So what I think works best for him, Kevin, what you said is spot on, man. That is like 110%, like his laser focus and how driven he is, to the point of and beyond, where he hurts himself to get the end result. But I think he works best partially when alone, but also with team members that are as outcast as he is, or as he feels he is, right? Because in the current run, he's got the Midnight House, and he's got Tigru with him, and his secretary, who is now a vampire, and one or two others, plus the other Fist of Khonshu, Night's Moon, I believe his name is, or something like that. Am I right, Kevin? Hunter's Moon, yeah.
Yep.
All of those are considered outcasts, or they're loners, but they have come together to form this mismatched ragtag group of family members that fight with each other all the time. But that's where he works best in a team sense, right? Because all of these people have the same feelings that he does. They feel outcast, they feel alone, they don't feel like they belong anywhere. Well, Mr. Knight is like, come over here, come to the Midnight House, you belong here, I will take care of you. But when he's alone, I think he works best too, because then it goes right back down into what Kevin said with that maniacal focus on completion of the mission at all costs. And that brings you to like during Devil's Reign, I believe, when he put himself in prison to finish a contract on Man Mountain Marco and blinded him just so he could do that. Like, yeah, you'll never mess with these people again. And then left.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Sal, what about you?
Okay. So I got to echo what both of you guys have said. The laser focus and working best with a team that the people consider outsiders or misfits on their own. So he does work better, but I don't like a bigger team than 2 or 3 people. Just for my personal tastes. I like when he's either one-on-one or maybe one with other 2 type of situation. You know, then I think he kind of works best. It's his wheelhouse. And if he's on a much larger team, let's say the Avengers, something like that, he gets lost in the background very easily, and he's really only there for the quick banter, one-liner type.
We need one more member on the team. Who's it going to be? Moon Knight.
Moon Knight. We'll just have him on one splash page saying something stupid, you know. So, but I also like, and I did this in the TV show. He kind of forced himself to work with the other psyches together to complete missions, and I kind of like that aspect. And if you haven't watched the show on Disney Plus, you should check it out. I thought it was pretty decent and something to watch. I just recently we watched it about a month ago because I could, purge the whole thing, binge the whole thing at one time. So it was it's a pretty good show to check out. So that's what I like best. How about you, Dan? What do you got?
And Oscar Isaac did an amazing job.
Yes, he did. Yeah,
he was really good in there. I kind of like what you guys have said. I like when they write him that when he fights, like you said, has that laser focus, and he's just completely unhinged and violent, and not really many other characters fight with that level of intensity and violence. Like maybe Hawkman, maybe the Punisher, but not that many. Like you said, like he's willing to hurt himself or get hurt to accomplish his goal. Nothing's going to stand in his way. And like Sal said, I like when he uses all the personalities, and that's something that they've done in the current series where they've kind of had like him in his head space where like all of them talking to each other. And I do think he probably works best alone, but I don't mind him when he's part of one of those big team ups. But they got to do him right on one of the team ups where he's where like the other heroes are kind of look at him side-eyed, like, I mean, he's here, he's a good guy, but
he's here, but he's not here.
Like, we don't really know how much we trust him. He's kind of unhinged. Let's make sure we keep an eye on him.
Mm-hmm. He's the guy that gets invited to a party, and you're not sure if he's going to trash the house.
I don't need any booze, guys. I'm just going to destroy the kitchen anyways.
So
punch a hole in the wall.
When he's like the hero in the big team ups, it kind of makes the other guys uncomfortable, and they're looking over at him like, all right, well, he's here.
And with all of that, he's been a member of the Avengers. He's been a member of the West Coast Avengers.
Yes.
He would fit in so much better in the Savage Avengers, and they just...
I think he's even too much for them. And they've got Conan on there.
That's true. That is
Conan would be like, we don't do that here.
Punisher was in the Savage.
I mean, I don't necessarily want like him as part of like a permanent member of a team. But like when they do the big kind of like crossovers and he would have to be there.
The major event.
Like I said, when he's the one that kind of makes the other ones around him uncomfortable.
Squeamish. Yeah. Very good.
Stir the pot.
Very good.
Stir the pot.
All right, very good. Now moving on to our next segment is badass moments. We all have them. So, guys, we need your top 3 ones, top 3 badass moments, and I'll start with mine. And one was not even in a Moon Knight series. This was in Punisher issue 14, where he argues with Punisher, and it was just a quick banter back and forth. And Punisher says to him, "Hello, Mark, are you still crazy?" And he's like, "A little bit." He goes, "Are you still murdering people?" And Punisher's like, "A little bit. How's your imaginary god?" He's like, "He's good. How's your dead family?" That type. I was just to say this type of crap to the Punisher, man, and not get your butt kicked is amazing in itself.
I forgot about that.
Yep. So my next one I have is during Infinity Wars, he was spacing out while there was some meeting going on or some monologue.
I know the panel you're talking about.
And he's like talking to Spider-Man, and he's like, "Wow, I picked the wrong time to space out. What did I miss?" And Spider-Man's like, "Gamora's taking over the family business," and he's like, "Who's Gamora?" And then Spider-Man's like, "Just punch who I punch, just punch who I punch in a second, And the last badass moment I have from him is from Meditation Moon Knight. And this is arguing with himself. So he's in the park, he's meditating, and his psyches are arguing, but he's actually saying it out loud. So in the park, he's yelling at himself. He goes, "I'm not a douche." "Yes, you are. Stop whacking me." That type of thing. You can see all the people like walking the dog behind him, like going, "Crazy guy over there." let's just keep moving. That type of thing. But that's what I have for my 3 badass moments. How about you, Dan? What do you have for 3 badass?
I was gonna throw the Punisher one in there too, because who talks to the Punisher like that? It's like, "Hey, how's your dead family?" And then like the Punisher, and like the Punisher doesn't even look at him sideways, because even the Punisher knows like this guy. So since you took that one, I have 3 others.
Okay, that's fine.
From the Avengers series that just ended, when they did the storyline where he was basically like Khonshu was taking over the world. It was in Avengers issue 33. At the start of that, when he's going around like picking off Avengers one by one, he takes down Iron Fist, steals the Iron Fist power. Takes down Doctor Strange, steals the mystical power. Takes down Thor, steals the hammer when he's, when Khonshu's like, "Oh, what do you think your hammer's made of?" Like, "That's moon rock." And he's just taking these guys down by himself, one-on-one. Like, that's badass.
Yeah.
The next one I've got is from the Moon Knight Devil's Reign, the whole one shot. Tim already kind of mentioned it.
Sorry.
It's when it's fine. It's when Kingpin's got the mayor of New York, and he's got it illegal to be a superhero. So Moon Knight has this woman come to him and says, "Hey, Man Mountain Marco, I had a kid with him. We've been separated, but she's starting to show powers, and I'm afraid that he's going to, or like I know he's going to come and try and take her and make this turn her into him." And she's like, she likes ballet and Barbie dolls, and so Moon Knight's like, "I got you covered." So he eventually gets himself put in prison, where he finds they have this fight ring. And all the prisoners, when they find out who he is, are so scared of him, they don't want to be around him. Except when they try and take him out in the shower, and he just takes out like 4 or 5 of them.
Obliterates them.
Yeah, he gets in this fight ring, goes, makes his way, beating everyone all the way to the end with Man Mountain Marco, takes him down, and tells him, he's like, "All right, you're not going to see," and I forget the woman's name, is like, "You're not going to see her again. You're going to stay away from her. You're going to stay away from the daughter." And he's going to leave it at that. And Man Mountain Marco goes, "Yeah, well, as soon as I get out, the first thing I'm going to do is go over there, and I'm going to kill her, and I'm going to take her." And, then Moon Knight says, "No, you misunderstood." He's like, I gave you the chance to do the right thing, like, but I'm telling you, you're not. And then he just goes over, puts his thumbs on there, pokes out both of his eyes right there. Like the whole prison, all the guards and stuff are watching, because this is during their fight, takes out both of his eyes, and is like, "I told you, you're not going to see them again." And then when someone in the issue had questioned him, like, "Oh, how did you manage to get captured?" He's like, "Do you think that they would have got me if I didn't want them to?" And then, like Tim said, does that, promptly breaks out. He's like,
See ya.
I'm
I'm done.
Peace.
And then my last one I got is from Moon Knight Volume 5, Issue 2. His main nemesis was Raoul Bushman, who was the guy that killed him, left him for dead, and he kills Bushman and he carves off his face with one of his crescent darts. I mean, that just shows the
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Mm-hmm.
the absolute viciousness of it. And then the rest of the book, Khonshu kept appearing to him in the form of Bushman with his face carved off, to taunt him the rest of the series.
Yeah,
the rest of the story there. So
that's harsh.
Yeah, it's pretty.
So good.
It's pretty harsh. Like I said, even characters like Hawkman and Punisher don't generally go to that lengths where they're just going to carve somebody's face off. So that's what I got from my 3. What about you, Kev? What do you got?
So of course, me and Dan are simpatico with a lot. My number 3 is what do I have? Sorry. Oh, my number 3 is summoning undead past versions of the Fists of Khonshu. So he's like, he summons an entire army of dead Fists of Khonshu. It's like, holy crap! That like anything
that was not too long ago either. That was a couple.
No,
issues
that was
ago.
that was issue number 12 of the current run.
Yeah,
nice.
So anything that Moon Knight can do, so can this entire army of Fists of Khonshu that he summons. Let's see. Number 2 is in issue number 13, the bad guy is like, I need Moon Knight dead, and I'm gonna hire one of the most hardcore badass assassins in Marvel Universe. And he hires Taskmaster to go after Moon Knight. And as soon as Taskmaster, who is one of the best martial artists in Marvel Universe, he said, I'll go after Daredevil, I'll go after Spider-Man, I'll go after
Captain America. Yeah.
Wait. You want me to go after Moon Knight? Nope. Hell no.
I think he said something along the lines of like, Moon Knight is on a whole other level, and he's like, no.
So not only does he refuse, but he's and the guy's like, are you a coward? Are you afraid? And he's like, yes, yes I am. And as soon as he leaves, he goes over and he binds Moon Knight, and he's like, look, somebody's coming after you. I was hired to do it, and I just want to let you know that I have nothing to do with what's coming. And that's so cool. And then, of course, there's the beating the Avengers. My number 1 is beating the Avengers, and like Thor is like a god, and he throws the hammer, and Moon Knight's like, nope, mine. What do you think that's made out of? You got nothing. To Thor. So I mean, that was like the entire and that run was called The Age of Khonshu.
Yeah, that's right.
And that entire run was bloody brilliant. That's the thing. That was the impetus behind the beginning of the current run of Moon Knight, which we'll get into before too long here.
Okay.
How about you there, Tim? What you got?
So, badass moments. Let's go ahead. I don't know how I'm going to top you guys, but I'm going to try. So, my first one is not even in a Moon Knight title, but he was a major part of the storyline, and that's the Round Robin storyline from the 90s, Amazing Spider-Man numbers 353 through 358. And they were fighting a Moon Knight villain, right? Midnighter or Midnight... something like that, Midnight Man or whatever.
Man, I think.
Yeah, but he was all cybernetic and he was trying to take over the city and all this other stuff. And Spider-Man's trying to do things with Nova, Night Thrasher, and Darkhawk, and the Punisher, and Moon Knight finally comes in like the middle of it, and he's like, "I got it from here, guys. I'm going to take over." Spider-Man's like, no. We don't need to kill him. We just need to take him down. Moon Knight's like, yeah, I'm going to do whatever I want. You can come with me or you can't. That is entirely up to you. But I'm going this way. I'll see you there. And the whole series was like that. And I think at the end of the series, Spider-Man was trying to give Moon Knight the business, like give him a lesson and talking to. And Moon Knight's like, yeah, you don't talk to me like that. He's one of my guys. He's my problem. He's not your problem. Thanks for your help, but I've got it. I'll take care of it. And I thought that was so incredibly awesome. I think at that point is when I was a kid is when I fell in love with Moon Knight. The other one, Moon Knight Volume 5, number 13. This is during the Initiative storyline. So right after Civil War, when Moon Knight does everything possible to earn a registration card. So he can continue to do the things that he does. I mean, the whole issue is brutal, and the cover of it is the registration card soaked in blood. So, you can just think about what happens in the issue from there. The artwork was a little wonky for me, but the whole story, like, I was confused through the whole thing, but they're playing on the personalities and all that other stuff. And after the end of the issue, I was like, man, that was crazy. All that stuff he had to do to get the registration card. But the last thing has to do with cards, but it's Mark Spector, Moon Knight, issue number 50, where he burns his Avengers card.
Yeah, I almost had that one too.
Like, he has had enough of all of their stuff, and he is like, none of them are even going to know I'm gone. They don't care about me. I am just a second rate to them. F them. And he burns the card right in front of everybody, and it's amazing. I don't think it gets more badass than that. As crazy as he can be, standing in front of Captain America, Iron Man, Hawkeye, all the guys. Yeah, I don't care about this.
Yeah, I think they were discussing punishment, and he just sets them on fire and just like, I'm gone. See ya.
You can't
turn around,
punish
they're
me
like,
now.
all they look at is the card just burning. It's like, okay.
Yeah. So that's what I got.
That's pretty cool. All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, on for our next segment. This is where we think the character sucks. Now, this is a little critique, something we don't like. Maybe it's how it's written, maybe it's how it's drawn, maybe it's where stories went. But these are critiques that we have and why we don't like this character. And Tim, why don't you go ahead and kick us off on this one?
So, if you've seen any episodes of Codex anything where I talk about Moon Knight, you'll know what I'm about to talk about. But it's when Moon Knight's written wrong. And a lot of writers get it, but there's a lot of writers that don't. And especially in the beginning, in the first volume. Now, it needs to be said that if you love the first volume of Moon Knight, and there are a lot of people that do, good for you. I do not. It is my least favorite Moon Knight anything. I've read it. I've read the whole thing, all the annuals, and I hated it. And the reason is because there was no structure through the whole thing. I think it's like 30 issues or 32 issues or something like that. But either way, there's no structure. It's different writers all the time. The character couldn't get his footing. They had ideas in one section and then they were completely dismissed for other things. He was written incredibly wrong. Like it was so out of character. It was out of character. And it just made no sense. And I think with all of that, that's why he suffered so much as a character, as a third or fourth rate hero, and a comparison to Batman in DC, right? But when you read further along with Moon Knight, you realize that that's not the case. But yeah, I think where he suffers most is with writers. McKay's got it perfect right now, but even greats, like Monick, like when he did stuff for the first volume of Moon Knight, it just was not that good. It really wasn't. The name is escaping me right now, but he wrote Batman. He tried to Denny O'Neil. He tried to do stuff for Moon Knight, and it just was not good. Like it had no substance whatsoever. So yeah, that's what I got. Writers.
Okay.
You just blame that all on his DID. It's fine.
There you go. Well, Kevin, what about you, man?
So he has been established as having powers before. Different powers or level of powers depending upon the phase of the moon and however what Khonshu wants to give him, and that whole Age of Khonshu where he beat the Avengers. I think when they give him powers, it takes away from him because of the fact that he doesn't have powers and he's still this level of like, nope, I don't want to have anything to do with that dude. When they give him powers, I think it takes away from how. Yes, the idea of Moon Knight having powers is scary as hell, but I think it takes away from what makes him scary to begin with. So I personally just don't like it when they give him superpowers. I think he's a lot more effective as a unhinged, powerless dude who's just willing to go farther than anybody should be able to go and just not care and do it anyway. I think that's when he's at his best.
Sounds like your cat agrees with you.
Yes, she won't shut up. Sorry.
That's all right. No, that's fine. I'm not sure, but my dog is snoring, so she can tell we're just all that exciting to her.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, how about
All right,
you? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Well, I was going to say, go ahead, Dan. What do you got?
It kind of goes along with what I mentioned earlier when he appears. You know, I don't mind when he appears in like the big crossovers, but he has to be written in the right way. Kind of what you said, Tim, when writers don't know what to do with him. If he's just the guy that's back there and it's like, all right, just kind of treat him like any generic superhero, you know, he's got to be treated like the guy that makes the other heroes uncomfortable. And when they have him in some of these big things like that, and that's not how he's used, you know, it's a big disservice to the character. And like I said, I don't really. I think I mentioned it earlier too. Like, I don't really like him as part of a team. Like, you know, when he was on the Avengers or something, like he's not a character that should be part of a mainstream team. He's not a character that should be part of like an organized superhero team, because he's not that guy. Like even with all the characters that he's got in his book now, like you said, he's got Tigra and he's got I forget her name, but like his secretary that was turned into.
Yeah, I can't remember her name either.
The one character Soldier that's turned into a vampire, and Hunter's Moon, but they're not a team. They're just kind of some people that help him out and sometimes kind of do their own thing too. So I don't think he works good when, you know, if they try and make him as part of an organized team.
Yeah.
Is it Rose?
It might be.
That might be. I
think it might be Rose.
What about you, Sal?
Look it up. All right. Excuse me. I was trying to look it up. But yeah, I have to agree with Tim. I think it's really around his writing. Even with a power set that Kevin doesn't like, which is cool, power set or not, if he's not written the right way, it really comes off Batman-esque. You know, he comes off as a second-rate Batman, and that's what I don't like about it. So it's as long and if they try to keep it away from that Batman-esque situation, get it written in the right situations and the right timings, he'll be 100% better. And I think you were spot on, Tim, when you said that he didn't gain traction in his first volume, because I think Werewolf by Night. Well, yeah, please, you know, you're welcome. You know? So when he was in Werewolf by Night, or introduced in Werewolf by Night, it was, I think, kind of a different character, or not too different, but you know, I think
he was
had
supposed to be a one and done.
It was like different motivations, and then when he got his own book, they like completely rewrote his origin as to what he originally was, which is like a werewolf hunter.
Right.
Yeah, they never do that. They never ever change.
They never retcon everything.
Origin.
They never retcon anything. No.
That's not a thing.
Of course not. So I think, and that's where he suffered, because they didn't know where to go with him or what to do with him, and they gave him this setup, and it was very like a second-rate Batman to me. So
yeah,
that's how I feel about that.
Agreed.
All right. So moving on from the critiques, let's get off of that. Let's get to some kick-ass covers.
Yeah.
We all have them. We each chosen 3. Kevin, why don't you kick us off with our top
Right,
or
let's
badass
do
covers.
this thing. All right, let's do this thing. All right, so my first cover is Moonlight. I can't see. Moonlight. What issue is that? Number 6. Or was that 9?
I think it's
Uh,
9.
Nope.
It is
That's
Number,
number
issue number 9.
Yeah.
Nine.
I love the completely and utter like disorienting MC Escher-esque aspect of it, because it just kind of shows I mean the story, it's relevant to the story and whatnot, but it also kind of suggests how chaotic his mind actually is. So I love that. And then we got Moon Knight. Honestly, I don't know what volume this is, but Moon Knight number 5.
It might be volume 6.
I think it is volume
Maybe.
6.
Yeah.
Okay, volume.
Or no,
Moon
it's
Knight,
volume
six.
7, I think.
Oh, is it?
All right.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
so.
Thank you. Moon Knight, volume 7, number 6. It's him peeling off his human face, and underneath is Mr. Knight, which I think is just
Yeah,
perfect
that's pretty
for the
badass.
character, because it's like what who really is Moon Knight, depending upon the day, the hour, the minute. He's completely not all together there in any way, shape, or form. And then we got an alternate cover for the first issue of Dagnabbit. I don't know what issue. What
It is the first, Kevin. That's all.
First
First
issue.
issue. It looks gorgeous.
first issue of, I'm going to say, Moon Knight. And I'm sorry, I really should write these down, but it shows him jumping off of a building, flying upside down. And what makes this really cool is it's all in black and white, and the upper left-hand side of the cover is all the city, and the lower the lower left-hand side of the cover is very blank and stark. So the issue cover is just really jarring as far as like busy to stark, and it's all in black and white. It's just a really, really cool cover.
Kevin, this is from the current run, volume 9. That is issue number 1, the O cover.
The
Why
O
do
cover.
I not have? Then, if that's the case, then why don't I have this issue? Damn it!
Because it's probably expensive.
Probably.
Yeah. Nah.
All right.
Thank you for elaborating upon my the volumes on these ones, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. So let's go with Dan next on this for top covers. Then we'll swing over to Tim.
Okay.
Oh, I almost chose two of those. Almost.
So on the end, I'll start off with it. It was Moon Knight issue 23 from the run that Tim said he didn't like. So, which I'll agree. It's not that it's a terrible run. It's just not really
that good.
There's nothing special in it. It's just kind of an average 80s superhero thing.
Yeah.
But the covers for the series when Bill Sienkiewicz took over are just spectacular. And I told them earlier, I could have easily picked all his covers, but I picked the one that I liked the most, which was this one. I like that it's black and white and the Moon Knight logo in yellow kind of pops, but it looks really gritty and kind of dirty. Which looks cool. The one in the middle one, Moon Knight Mark Spector, Moon Knight number 56. I picked for two reasons. One, because it is a cool looking cover, but two, if you were a comic fan around the time of this, you'll know the artist that did this, Stephen Platt.
Splat.
Came out of nowhere, became an overnight sensation. They put him on this book Moon Knight, and he's kind of a early on he was kind of a Todd McFarlane knockoff that you could see his style develop. But he took Moon Knight, which was a book that was imminently getting ready to be canceled, and it was after a few issues after he took over, but he made it one of the hottest books around, and it was because of his art. And this was the best cover, I think, of all the ones he did.
Nice.
And then I got the Moon Knight special edition number 1. I like the pose that he's got on that, where the cape's kind of going there, and the red, like the red night that's there, and like the red moon and all that, and and the rain that's coming down, and it's just a really cool, moody looking, image.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, very cool.
All right, Tim, let's see yours.
Well, Dan and I have the same. That one in the center right there. What issue number is that? 28, right?
23.
23. Yeah.
23.
The cover itself speaks volumes. It's black and white. You've got the Moon Knight that pops in the front, and that is how you're supposed to feel when you dive into this book. And the covers for this entire run are awesome covers, this being one of the best. But moving over to the left, that is issue number 1 of the current run.
Wow.
That just looks gorgeous to me.
That
That
is.
is Moon Knight's torn suit in all his glory, lightning everywhere. It's wonderful. And then over to the right is David Finch with Moon Knight number 2 from volume 5. That I think is some of the best Moon Knight I have ever read.
Wow.
And he is brutally unhinged there and borderline losing all of his minds throughout most of the series. And it's just such an entertaining read. That cover right there shows you all you need to know.
You said that is
That's
volume
awesome.
5?
Yeah, over on the right, that's volume 5.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, oh yeah, all the covers are like that. Even after Finch left, Miko Suyan came on, did wonderful covers, and then everybody else that was on after that did amazing too.
With the cover on the left, Khonshu had to resurrect them with that level of lightning. There's no surviving all of that.
And that's the A cover too. So
And it makes you wish it really makes you wish Steve McNiven drew more Moon Knight.
No kidding.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at what I've chosen for top covers.
Yeah.
There we go. So first off, we got Moon Knight Black, White, and Blood. This is a Delato variant cover, and I just love it for the the blood just dripping off of him like he's just fresh out of the fight, you know, type situation. And of course, you got the red moon in the back, and the Moon Knight itself. The words Moon Knight, what the parts in red and the other parts in white, it kind of just blends together. I like how that's done.
That is very cool.
The middle issue is actually a variant for is that the variant one I'm thinking of? Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, it's a variant.
For the artist Philip Tan did this one.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a very crisp cover to me. I like how he's holding the crescent up to almost complete the other circle on the moon, or he's just pulled it from the other O portion of the Moon Knight. So this is a pretty bad cover to me. And then the last one is Addy Granoff cover.
Yeah,
with Dennis and Holly, and there he is stepping on Captain America's shield. I'm not sure where the claws are coming from, but
I was going to say, is this Wolverine or Moon Knight?
Yeah, I know. But he's got Spider-Man. Oh, I know what this. I remember now from the story. That reminds me. I think it's part of one of my stories. But in the storyline, he's actually teaming up with Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Captain America. But he's not. It's all the hallucinations in his head that he's actually teaming up with them. So he's having conversations with them not even there.
He's even more unhinged.
So that's why I totally forgot about that. That's why even
that's very cool.
So, yep. And just to note, the name of the secretary, the vampire, is Reese.
Reese. Right on.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
I was right with the R.
Yes, you were. Yes, you
the
were.
R and the S and the E, you were right.
There you go.
3 quarters.
Yeah.
Kevin, you get partial credit. Very good.
All right, good. I'll take a half a point.
There you go.
But more than the rest of us had.
Yes, indeed. So, as always with top covers, we want to know where we can find these books, and we have the perfect place online for you guys to check this out and actually probably pick up either the graphic novels or even maybe some back issues. It's at Heroscornercomics.com. You go check them out. You use the word codex, that's CODEX, with no hyphen, and you can save 20% on that order. Now, this website is well done. He's got slabs, he's got back issues, he's got store exclusives, and he uses the preview app for setting up a pull list, and you can even find your kick-ass variants there and sign up for them through that way. They ship very well, and they deliver pretty quick. I love them. I get my big time pools. If you ever watch my channel, you see the epic boxes that I unload.
Mhm.
Tim's seen a few of those as well. So
Oh yeah.
definitely check them out. They're at heroscornercomics.com, and they're also on Facebook under Heroes Corner Insiders.
Yep.
There you go.
And if you're in, you're in.
Great guys.
Yeah, oh
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. Louis and the whole team, they are amazing.
Yes, they are. All right, so now on to our next segment we got is the essential readings. And Tim, why don't you kick us off with your 3 favorite or 3 that you would recommend to somebody?
Okay, so for recommended readings, let's go ahead and go with Moon Knight Volume 5, issues 7 through 12. And this is the Midnight Sun, chapter 1 through the rest of it. This is right after Civil War, when for the first 3 or so issues, well, during this whole time, he's going after Midnight Man again. And each of the covers correspond with a certain hour on the clock until he meets up with Midnight Man for the final showdown, the final showdown. But 3 of these issues, like he's teaming up with Spider-Man first, and they talk, and it's great character development between the 2 of them, and Moon Knight holding his position while he's got 2 characters, Spider-Man and Captain America, lecturing him, telling him how he should do things. He's unhinged, he's this, he's that, he's more brutal than ever. And with each of those, he's like, no, absolutely not. I don't care what you say. This is what I'm doing. This is how I'm going to do it. If you don't like it, deal with it, or deal with me. And then in the third part, or it's chapter 2, I believe. No, chapter 3, where he deals with the Punisher, right? He's with the Punisher and all of this too. And that is wild on its own, because it's the same type of conversation. And the Punisher's like, I don't care what you do, just stay away from me. And it's amazing. But the whole story is leading up to his final confrontation with Midnight Man. And it is absolutely amazing. Next, I have Moon Knight Volume 6, issues 1 through 12. Sal, that's the Bendis run. And I'm going to let Sal discuss a little bit more of that than I will. I'll allude to it. So with the Bendis run, right, like you said, Sal, he's teaming up with Wolverine and Spider-Man and Captain America, but he's really not, because he's teaming up with them in his head. This was a run that I initially stayed away from because I didn't think Bendis could write Moon Knight very well. Bendis was a good team writer, but I thought he was going to destroy Moon Knight. So I stayed away from this for a long time until I read it. And this is, honest to God, one of the greatest series that's been written for Moon Knight. And it's only 12 issues. And that's really unfortunate. It really dives into the DID that he has, the dissociative identity disorder.
Right.
Yeah. And things of that nature. And it's well worth a read. It's more difficult for me to explain than to just say, read it. Trust me. And then finally, the current run, Moon Knight Volume 9, issues 11 through 13. That is where he is going against Zodiac. And I love that in Moon Knight they are bringing back older villains for him to fight, and he is systematically tearing them apart. And this is one of them. This is early on in this, or well, close to halfway through the current run, but it's only 3 parts. And like the plot, Moon Knight and his allies race against time to save lives, while Zodiac puts in motion his plans for his final strike against the Fist of Khonshu. It's awesome because, as Kevin has said before, Moon Knight is so systematic and brutal in the completion of the mission that Zodiac has no idea what he's gotten himself into. And it is glorious to read for those 3 issues because you can tell what's coming. Zodiac has no flipping clue, and you're like, man, it's gonna hurt when Moon Knight gets there.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So those are my recommendeds right now.
Excellent.
Okay. All right. Let's go with Kevin. What you got for recommended readings?
All right. So for me, I got Devil's Reign, Moon Knight #1. We talked about this. Tim talked about it, and Dan talked about it. I thought this was great. Like Dan said, he was hired by Man Mountain Marco's wife to like say, I'm scared about like his influence over my daughter, and he goes over to prison and he gets into this whole fighting ring, and it's like you're not going to see them again. He's like, I'm going to do that anyway. He's like, okay, I warned you. I told you you're not going to see them again, and gouges out his eyes. That's just brutal. And one of the other things that I thought was great about this was, as soon as he's in prison, he's talking crap to the other prisoners, and they're like, "Who the hell are you?" He's like, "I'm the guy that carved that moon-shaped scar into your forehead." And like, oh.
Well, he's wearing like the potato sack on his head too.
Yeah.
So good. And so, we usually do like storylines, but I'm going to say just the current run, volume 9 of Moon Knight, the entire thing. We're up to issue number 24 right now.
100%.
Read all of it. It is the best run. I think it's the best thing Marvel has out right now, period.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not a bold statement either, Kevin.
Yep. And Moon Knight volume 9, the current run, but especially issue number 14. This is the issue that was alluded to earlier, where Moon Knight is having full-on conversations with all of his alternate personalities inside of his head. But at the same time as this is going on, he's in the middle of a fight, and he's just letting himself get the crap beat out of him because he's like, hold on, I'm busy. You can wail on me while I'm doing some crap in my head. I'll be with you in a minute. Just keep pounding on me until I get back to you. It's such a great issue. It's so funny. Highly recommend all of these.
And just to people know that issue 14 is actually the first full appearance of Grand Mal and first full appearance of Newman.
Nemian.
Nemian. I
Yep.
thought that was Newman.
Reference to one of the 12 labors of Hercules, the Nemian lion. Yep.
Very good. All right, Dan, what do you have for recommended readings?
So all mine are from different Moon Knight series, and they're like the initial 6 issues from each one of these series. So the first one is The Bottom, which is the first 6 issues of Volume 5. Tim had on his the story that takes place after that, which was
right after.
But this was the one where like Moon Knight hadn't been in a series. It'd been a while since Moon Knight had his own series, and the series picks up with him really like a broken man. He's not a superhero anymore, and he feels like his God has abandoned him, and he's trying to get back going. And there's this, shadowy, the group that the committee that was the original ones from his first appearance. It's their children that are now trying to get revenge on him for killing their fathers, and they end up making the mistake of getting him back into the game. But that's where he has the badass moment that I had, where he cuts off Bushman's face, and it's some really good stuff, some really brutal stuff. They introduced this character in it called Profile, whose power is that he could look at someone and basically read their profile, like, what they like, what they didn't like, what their fetishes were, when they were going to die, what their health problems were, like every little detail about them, embarrassing stuff about him. And he didn't want to look at Moon Knight because he knew it would drive him crazy looking at him.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The second one I have is From the Dead. It's the first 6 issues of Moon Knight Volume 7. It was written by Warren Ellis and drawn by, if I'm saying the name right, Declan Chave. Yeah. This was the first appearance of Mr. Knight, and it's a really fun read. Just read it. I don't
Sometimes that's all you need, though. Just
Yeah,
read
Do
it.
it.
Trust me, just
each,
read it.
each one of the Warren Ellis only wrote this first 6 issues, and then they had a different artist and different writer take over after that. But each issue is a standalone issue. But you see him dealing with the police, and this is when being a superhero was outlawed. So he kind of came to this understanding with this detective. It's just some really creative stuff that was done with the character.
Yeah.
And then the last one I have is Midnight Mission, which is the first 6 issues of the current run, Volume 9. And again, it picks up after Age of Khonshu and Avengers, and he's kind of setting himself back up and trying to find his way now that he's not trying to kind of distance himself from Khonshu in a way. And he's trying to set this whole new kind of life up for himself. And like Kevin said, the whole current series is fantastic. But the first storyline is the one that has the building blocks, where it introduces all the new characters, all the new supporting characters, and sets the stage for what the rest of the series is going to be.
Yeah.
Yep. This is great.
Cool. Nice ones. Good ones, Dan. All right. Now we could go to my recommended readings. All right. So I'll start off with the very bottom one, Moon Knight by Bendis and Melu. I know. Maleev? Is that a V? I think it is.
I think it's Maleev.
Yeah, Maleev. So this is the complete collection. This is the one we've been alluding to now the whole time. And this is where he, needs to team up with Captain America, Wolverine, and Spider-Man. And the tagline's like, "There's nobody you want to have more than this trio of mighty Avengers." So what's the problem? Well, they're all in his head. He's not actually teaming up with them. He's teaming up with them in his head, like Tim had said, and he's trying to fight, his battles while having this shattered psyche type thing.
Yep.
And he's in Los Angeles, and I believe that if I remember right, the story is that there's Ultron's temporary inert robot body being trafficked around, and he's trying to get that and take that out. And it's just a real well written run. I like this one. It's issues 1 through 12.
Yeah, Bendis did a good job on that.
Yeah, definitely. Bendis does write a lot of good stuff. So
yeah,
one or two things. So next one I have is, I'll start at the top there, Moon Knight Volume 5, Down South. This is in 2006. This is issues, particularly numbers 26 to 30.
Right at the end, yep. And he, Mark Spector is supposed to be, dead, and he's hiding out in Mexico. And this millionaire approaches him to rescue his daughter, and that, there's somebody else tracking her down as well, and he didn't want that other person to find her, and lo and behold, it's the Punisher. So one of the taglines is that it's Punisher's like one of the only people that would make Khonshu blink. So I feel like it was a pretty good wrap up to that one. So 26 to 30, check that out. And then the middle one is Moon Knight Legacy. This is from 2017. This is issues 188 to 200. So he's battling the Sun King. His psyches are all out of control on him. He's trying to get them under control. And the Sun King and Bushman are attacking Jake Lockley to reveal his dark secret. We're not going to give any spoilers, so you have to check that out for yourself. But the Spectre's Mark Spector's true origin is uncovered. This is where they probably retcon some stuff as well. But this also kind of they set it up as like what traumatic event was this that shaped Moon Knight's future type situation. So you should check this one out.
Sorry, so Legacy, what volume was that one?
Do not know what volume, but it was in 2017.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it was called Moon Knight Legacy because they went with the legacy numbering.
Oh, yeah. I see. Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, I think that's the one that picked up. That picked up from the original series.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Or not picked up from because the original series ended with issue 37.
Yeah, I believe
Right.
so.
38. And then, yeah, this was the one that picked up, and it was with 188. I think it was the one where it's like, hey, all the Moon Knight books put together were 187 issues. So now this is 188.
All right. Cool.
Right.
Yeah.
So Tim, I'm glad your dog agrees with our recommended readings.
She has been agreeing all episode. My God.
All right. So now
Very
for our
cool.
next segment, this is our best writer and best artist. And now these are our artists and authors that we like and what defines the character for us. So if we picture Moon Knight in our head, who is the one that you want writing them and who's the one you want drawing them? So Dan, why don't you go ahead and kick us off with this one?
Zeb Wells.
I knew you were going to go there. I knew you were going to go there.
No, for best writer, as much as I liked what Warren Ellis did with him, he only wrote him for the 6 issues. So I'm going to have to go with the current writer, Jed MacKay. I love the series, like Kevin said. I don't know if it's the best thing that Marvel is putting out right now, but it's in like the top 2 or 3 for me. It's one of my favorite books to pick up every month, and he's just fantastic with it. I like how he has, has this, like you said, this kind of core of misfits that are around him working with him. I like that he's got the whole midnight mission thing, and like even the building itself is, was something that he had to fight against in the series, and then brought into the, this mission.
Part of the family too.
Yeah, like I'm like it leans heavily into the protecting the travelers of the night, and how it has, it really does a lot with all of his different personalities.
His base of operation is itself a supernatural entity.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So yeah, I really like what MacKay is doing. I hope that the book goes on for a long time, and I hope that he stays with it for a long time.
Yeah, agreed.
Though, if he were to leave it, one writer that I would like to see tackle the character is Donny Cates.
Yes.
I feel like Cates this is one of those characters that's like right down his alley for the stuff that he would do well with. And for best artist, I'm going to have to go with David Finch. When he did, it was volume 5. When he was on that, like his artwork was just so good. It's so detailed, and like the action in it really goes well. But it's not just the good superhero stuff. He's really good at drawing the dark, moody stuff with him, and drawing it where it looks really gritty. And when he draws the violent stuff, and there's a lot of violent stuff with Moon Knight, he doesn't shy away from it. And the detail that he puts it, and the grittiness that he puts in the art, just really hammers it home too. So that's who I'm going with there. So what about you, Tim? What do you have for your best writer and artist?
Dan, if I could repeat everything you said word for word, that's what I have. Jed MacKay for my writer, 110%. What's being written right now for Moon Knight is the best that he has had in a long time, and it is long overdue. Moon Knight is one of the best books Marvel's putting out right now. I think if it's not the best, like you said, Dan, it's in the top 3 without question. If you're not reading Moon Knight, you need to get on it, and the back issues are not going to be expensive to get a hold of, because I think it's still a sleeper title for a lot of people. Even though the show came out and all that stuff, it's not being talked about enough, and it is just written that well. The artwork in there is amazing also, but that's not my favorite artist. My favorite artist is, like you said, Dan, David Finch. What he did for volume 5 of Moon Knight, after Moon Knight hadn't had a series for quite a while, his artwork was right in your face, and it was brutal, and it was vicious, and it made you uncomfortable, and it did everything visually that a Moon Knight comic book needed to do. And it was just so wonderful to read that as it was coming out, and to see how brutal things were in those covers. The blood cover where he's standing there and he's got blood all over himself and his fists, and all that jazz. David Finch needs to come back and do some Moon Knight. I would love to see that again.
Absolutely.
And especially the way, especially the way that he started the book too, because Moon Knight was like a broken man in a wheelchair,
Yes.
and, like unkempt in the beard, and like he just captured that perfectly.
Yeah, all of it. Visually, David Finch, I think, is the best Moon Knight artist. 110%. Sal, what about you?
Okay, well, as much as I like McKay on the current run, I went with Brian Michael Bendis.
Okay.
I went with Bendis. I like that bit that he did, and there's nothing to take away from the current series. It's been very good for me as well. Definitely in the top 3 for me as well. But for artists, I went with Bill Sienkiewicz. I pronounced that last name right?
Yeah, Sienkiewicz, I believe.
Sienkiewicz.
Yeah.
Yep, Sienkiewicz.
Mhm.
The contrast and the grittiness of his drawings, that just speaks to me there. So that makes me think Moon Knight.
Right
Awesome.
on. His covers in the first volume are classic covers without a doubt.
Really,
His
yeah.
interior art too, like he started experimenting a lot.
Yeah.
Developing his style from being just typical 80s comic artist to like what he became. That's the book that he did it in.
I agree with you. What he did on Moon Knight transitioned eventually onto New Mutants when he made it over there, and you can really tell.
Definitely.
So
All right, Kevin, what you got?
I gotta, of course, go with Jed McKay. He's slaughtering it, but I'm gonna go a different route altogether, and I'm gonna give my dream team of who I would like to see do Moon Knight. So for my Moon Knight writer and artist combination, I want to see Alan Moore team up with Todd McFarlane.
Holy
wow.
shit. That would be
wild.
Cool.
Right?
Yeah. McFarlane doesn't think I'm talking about capes,
Exactly.
You'd get a crazy cape.
Wow.
And he's got the hood too, so maybe he'd have some kind of crazy hood too.
Right?
Yep.
Just baller.
Comic executives, say your I'm sorry's to Alan Moore and let's make this happen.
Serious? Come on, man. It would be completely baller.
And if you need to get on the show to let Kevin straighten you out, you get on this show, let Kevin straighten you out.
I'll talk, man. I'll convince you.
All right, guys. Good choices, good picks, good covers. This has been a great episode. Do we have any last minute comments we want to do before we sign off on this one?
Who will the moon rule
anything
on the side of my car?
Moon Knight is a highly underrated character. I think he deserves more spotlight. I wish more people would be deeper into Moon Knight than on the surface level, because there's so much more, and anybody that gatekeeps Moon Knight is doing him a disservice. They need to open the gates, and you need to go in there and get crazy and enjoy this character. He is such a wonderful character.
I would like to add one small detail here. So we all love Moon Knight, and one of the most inherent aspects of the character is his DID, dissociative identity disorder. So all of you out there who are dealing with mental illness, please talk to somebody, reach out for help. People do care despite how much you think that they don't.
Agreed.
Thank you for that PSA.
I was going to say something with the character.
Welcome to my TED Talk. Go ahead, Dan.
I was going to say something that I was surprised none of us mentioned is the fact that he's kind of looked at as just the Marvel version of Batman, but he's so much more.
Yes,
he is definitely not the Marvel version.
Yeah, the similarities are he's a hero that primarily operates at night and wears a cape.
And that's where it stops.
Doesn't really have powers. And that's really it. There's a ton of characters that are very similar to that. But one thing that all of us neglected to mention, which is a core thing with him, is he's a character that operates at night, and he wears a white, all white and bright.
Shoot me!
White. And all of these characters have asked multiple times over the years, like, why do you wear this? And he goes, oh, I'm not trying. He's like, they're going to be able to see you. He goes, oh, I don't want them. He's like, I'm not trying to hide in the shadows. I
Yep.
want them to see me coming for them.
Yep.
And it just goes to the insanity of the character. Like we all kind of said, like he's just willing to take this punishment.
Yep.
He's not trying to sneak up on you like Batman. Like he wants you to see him coming. He wants you to see his fist coming at you.
Warren Ellis was the one that like kind of brought that to like, yeah, I want people to see me coming a mile away.
Yeah.
I would love to see a crossover between Batman and Moon Knight. Just get somebody that's serious about it, not just turning it into a beat 'em up book, because there would be parts of that, but a real serious character development between the world's greatest detective, the most rigid of ass kickers, versus a fractured mind that wants you to punch him harder.
I'd like to see a book where it's just like maybe that, and in the first 2 pages, he gets captured. I want to see Moon Knight in Arkham Asylum.
Oh God,
that would be amazing!
Joker and with Riddler and the Mad Hatter and Scarface and like all of these mentally.
I'm not trapped in here with all of you. All of you are trapped in here with me.
He'll probably be asking himself.
Now I want to see a crossover of Moon Knight and Rorschach.
There you go.
Shut up and take my money.
Done.
If you want to know the Marvel equivalent of Batman, stay tuned for our eventual episode of Nighthawk.
Oh, there you
go. Not in the near future, though.
Right.
No, not in the near future. No, but
not in the near future. Eventual future. Distant, maybe alternate universe future. Anyhow, I was going to say one more comment with that. The first with the crossover with Batman and him, the first 3 issues could be all of them doing cape moves.
Right.
So, anyhow, all right, guys. I think this wraps it up. This was a great episode. Thank you guys for all your input. Appreciate that. You guys did well. Before we sign off here, does anybody? Oh, I already did that. I already did the last minute. So here we go. That's all right. This is the Codex Station Comic Character Week. I am your host, Sal the Slab Guy. Down below, we got Dan the Man Kelly. Next to him is Archduke Kevy, and of course, Mr. Tim the Terrible, subbing in for J-Dub. Thank you guys. Have a good week, and I hope you guys have a 9.8 day.
Awesome. Much love.
Oh, I gotta end the stream. That's me, not you.
That's you. I was gonna say, click end.